All right, I suppose now we'll get started. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Franco Cortez, a guest contributor to Longevity 1.0 and the director of Aging Analytics Agency, and I'll be your host for today's event. You're joining us for the official virtual launch of Longevity Industry 1.0, defining the biggest and most complex industry in human history. A new book co-authored by longevity investors and thought leaders Dmitry Kaminskiy and Margaretta Colangelo. Today's event is being graciously moderated by Karen Taylor, Research Director at the Deloitte Center for Health Solutions, who will facilitate a discussion and Q&A session amongst the authors, centered upon the overall scope of the book, the major topics that it covers, as well as what its ideas mean for the industry as a whole at this pivotal moment in its ongoing evolution. Having myself contributed a guest chapter on the role of AI and biomarkers of aging and longevity, and having worked directly with both Margaretta and Dmitry for a number of years, I can personally attest to the fact that it is unlike any other book on the topic of longevity you're likely to have read before, covering not just the science and biomedical aspects of longevity, but also its recent and rapidly growing industrialization and its transition over the past decade from a fairly unknown and highly skepticized field to the veritable global megatrend that it is today, being rapidly embraced by not just the international scientific community, but also by high cap, reputable, and fairly conservative investors, and indeed entire national governments. I would also like to highlight the fact that this book is just the first volume in an ongoing series of books, and that while Longevity Industry 1.0 describes Dmitry and Margaretta's journey over the past 5 years in creating a dedicated analytical framework for the industry, as well as individual sector-specific frameworks, in order to optimize strategic decision-making and facilitate, for the first time, a full-scope understanding of the industry, capable of withstanding its overwhelming complexity and multidimensionality. And indeed that they are hard at work at the sequel, Longevity Industry 2.0, which will deliver deeper, more targeted, practical insights into the actual real-world application of these frameworks in practice. So the book is available starting today in a number of different formats, including a full-color print book priced at $55, and a Kindle ebook priced at $20, as well as a high-resolution PDF optimized for PC, desktop, and laptop viewing, which is available on the Longevity Book website, www.longevitybook.com. And indeed, I should also mention that while $55 may seem a high price to pay, it's actually the minimum price that Amazon allows for a book so filled with full color infographics, printed on high quality paper, and standing at 400 plus pages. So it is by no means a decision by Dmitry and Margaretta, and indeed they were forced to sell it at this price just in order to print it, period. And these three formats were chosen as the ideal compromise to encapsulate the book's, again, very large number of full-color, high-resolution infographics and industry landscape mind maps and hyperlinks. In many cases, hundreds of pages worth of analytical content have been compressed into just a few pages. And interested readers that are looking to get a deeper dive into the book's many topics and domains can explore that through the many hyperlinks scattered throughout the book. I'd also like to mention that between the launch of this first book and the official release of its sequel in 2021, the authors will also be making routine and regular updates and releasing new materials on the book website, again, for exclusive consumption by Longevity Book website subscribers, who will get access to highly tailored content, specialized articles, early access to chapters slated for their next book, as well as invitations to several specialized events on more targeted topics, including longevity finance and fintech, the longevity investment landscape, longevity policy and governance, and others. So in a way, the book itself can be thought of as the vehicle or the starting point for a much larger ongoing multimedia project and channel. So if you'd like to take part in that extended and ongoing journey, please be sure to subscribe at longevitybook.com. Now, getting back to this first book, Longevity Industry 1.0, it's also notable that the book has sections and chapters on entirely new sectors of the longevity sphere, which many viewers today may not be entirely familiar with, and which I'm confident will have a major impact on the overall trajectory of the industry's development in the years to come, including the longevity financial industry and the ways in which the topic of longevity is being embraced and onboarded by some of the world's largest financial corporations, including investment in retail banks, asset management firms, and insurance companies, as well as the coming rise of novel financial instruments directly tied to the longevity industry. And the book also covers the extremely recent rise of the longevity policy and governance sphere, and the ways in which national governments are beginning to prioritize the optimization of national healthy longevity, and to view the notion of health span extension as a major turning point in the future of their overall social and economic success and stability. The book itself is divided into 5 sections. Part 1, Longevity Mega Complexity, Challenges, Issues, and Opportunities, highlights the unprecedented complexity of the field, and how the fact that it is positioned at the direct intersection of many different types of frontier and advanced technologies really necessitates a fundamental paradigm shift in how we conduct industry analysis, forecasting, and strategic decision-making. Part 2, Longevity Policy and Governance, provides an overview of the recent history, present state, and near future of the politics of longevity, and explains why the topic of longevity serves as a major inflection point for the fate of national economies and healthcare systems. Part 3, Longevity Financial Industry, tells a story of health as new wealth, charts the rise of longevity banks, and highlights the need for novel approaches that can enable wealth span extension in lockstep with health span extension. Part 4, Longevity Industry, Science, Technology, and Biomedicine, gives an overview of the present state of longevity science and technology from both an R&D and near future perspective, as well as from a practical, ready today, market ready perspective. And finally, Part 5, Longevity Industry Navigator, is meant to serve as a kind of hyperlinked dashboard where readers can access a wide variety of sector, region, and domain-specific interactive mind maps and IT platforms, which are designed specifically to make it easier to get a full scope access of the understanding of the longevity industry. Which again further highlights the fact that the authors intend this book not to be just a theoretical discourse that is done today, but actually an evolving, actionable, and practical tool for gaining insights into the longevity industry. So again, the book is available today on Amazon in 2 different formats: a high-quality, full-color print edition priced at $55, and a Kindle ebook priced at $20. And for those of you who do purchase the print edition of the book, I highly encourage you to write us at contact@longevity-book.com to request a free copy of the high-resolution PDF, which again is optimized for desktop and laptop viewing in order to enable a maximally interactive and immersive experience. And of course, all participants of today's event will be sent links to the book and direct links to purchase the book following the close of today's launch. Once again, I'd like to remind today's viewers to subscribe to the Longevity Book website in order to stay tuned for further upcoming events and to gain access to a variety of exclusive follow-on materials being made available to the authors for exclusive consumption by Longevity Book website subscribers. With that general overview out of the way, I'd like to now pass the floor over to Margaretta and Dmitry, who can introduce the book to you in a little bit greater depth.
Okay, so I'll go first.
Yes, Margaretta, please.
Okay, so I'd like to welcome everyone to our launch. Thank you so much for coming, and thanks for your interest in our book. I'm Margaretta Colangelo, and I'm co-founder with Dmitry of Deep Knowledge Group. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about Deep Knowledge Group and what led us to writing this book. So we have a subsidiary called Aging Analytics Agency. And this agency does really comprehensive research of the entire longevity industry globally. And we started doing research about 5 years ago. And we discovered very interesting things. And we found out the number of investors who are investing in companies in this area, and the number of companies and what they were doing and what stage they were at. And so we would produce these really long, really extensive reports. I think the first one was 1,000 pages. So Dmitry and I started writing articles based on our reports. And I think many of you have read those articles. There's over 100, we've written over 100 articles on this. And we have 40,000 subscribers. So people are really interested in this. But then we decided to write a book based on this. And we actually decided to write a whole series. So there's going to be 10 books in the series. And this is the first one. And the next one comes out next year. And next year's will be interesting because we'll have more precise information about a lot of the information that we start describing in the first volume. And then let's show that slide. There's 2 slides. The reason I want to, now this slide isn't ours. This is actually from our portfolio company in Silico Medicine, but it's one of my favorite slides, this one and the next one. And the reason is because it shows you that aging doesn't start when you're old. It starts in middle age. So here we are. So this is a very interesting slide because look at everything is fine till the person gets to be about 35. And that's when the decline starts. So I think that's really important for everyone to be aware of because I think most people don't start thinking about aging until they're, 60 or 70. And we should all really start thinking about it earlier and intervening with, our health, but also our financial situation. So then that way we can live a really long life and be healthy and we can be financially stable. Okay, so now I'll hand it over to Dmitry.
Thank you very much, Margaretta and Franco, for this kind of introduction. Good afternoon, everybody. So I was lucky enough to get into this field of aging research, at the early stage. It was back in 2013 when I first time attended aging research conference in Oxford University. By the time, that meeting of scientists to me looked more like a secretive meeting of, members of religious cult, I would say. By general public, that topic of anti-aging and particular life extension was considered something very suspicious, fringe, so it was not credible at that time. Now it became quite a lot of different. At the same time, even the most active, active players in that aging research field, optimists, still they were quite pessimistic. They were assessing that actual practical applications of aging research and practical life extension techniques would be applicable in the best case scenario in 2025, maybe in 2030. In fact, in 2020, around 2017, the actual progress in science and technology and biomedicine achieved so significant results that many players, including some decision makers, including some, let's say, important people, started to pay quite more attention to this field and, in quite practical, tangible way. Approximately by the time our analytical subsidiary, Aging Analytics Agency, produced first So the company was actually incorporated 7 years ago, but back in 2017, it produced first analytical report profiling the landscape of business and science of longevity on the global scale. And although by around the time, 2017, 2018, it was quite difficult to speak with, let's say, financiers or investors about this industry, longevity industry as an industry. So opposed to biotech or biomedicine industries. However, already in 2019, the things changed quite significantly. And we are considering this year as a birth of the industry, actual birth of this industry as the real industry. Even to such extent that 1.5 years ago, approximately, we supported the establishment of this all parts parliamentary group for longevity in the UK Parliament. And again, it was approximately 1 year ago when we decided to publish this book, and it took us a year to actually structure it and to prepare for the publication. In 2019, longevity industry, the capitalization of the industry was considered about $17 trillion, and it is projected to grow up to 27 trillions within the next 6 years. Significant part of the industry is comprised by a number of big financial institutions. However, some of them are quite progressive. Most of them are lagging behind the progress and stuck in bureaucracy. This is current stage of, let's say, biotech, biomedicine industry. Most of activities, including financial transactions, are related to treatment rather than prevention. But in the next 5 years, for any reasonable, analysis, it's clear that this will be harmonized. So quite a lot of activities will be related to preventive medicine. More of it, we are also projecting that there will be also shifts from precision medicine, which is now considered as the forefront of medicine, to much more advanced, actually not medicine, but science of longevity, technology and medicine of longevity, which shall be considered as precision health. By the way, COVID pandemics, surprisingly, but what we are witnessing now, that many reasonable people, including high net worth individuals, they actually started to think about what is much more important in their life beyond wealth. And they started to consider that health is actually their wealth. And in some particular cases might be considered as new asset class. So with that, we're thinking that in reality, the longevity industry will grow even more dynamically compared with our previous projections. By the way, there are more than 1 billion people in retirement globally, and you can consider them as citizens of 7 continents. And by the way, some of them are actually, the wealthiest part of entire global population. This is clear for some private wealth banks. At the same time, this is very important. We are considering that it is required at least $1 trillion to be invested over the next 10 years into science, aging research, and some progressive technologies and advanced biomedicine within the longevity industry to actually make things done in a sense that achieve what could be considered as escape velocity. We'll talk about this today later, but let's say to achieve significant results in the industry, there shall be invested that amount of money, approximately $100 billion per year. This budget probably sounds as gigantic or maybe futuristic, unrealistic. Let's compare some basic numbers. It is $150 billion spent annually just on cancer research. And this is only one age-related disease. At the same time, because of this budget and many other, because of attention to the cancer disease in particular, there's quite significant progress. 10 years ago, cancer was considered something close to literally sentence to death. Now cancer is considered as very complex, however, in most cases, treatable disease. And we do think that, to make it down, that $1 trillion will be spent on science and development of new technologies in the longevity industry. Science and technology should become a commodity. It should become investable, tradable, bankable. There should be created and structured modern financial instruments, products, and derivatives. And there should be established new type of financial institutions, including such as longevity banks, longevity exchange traded funds, ETFs, and specialized longevity stock exchange. By the way, this project, Longevity Card, was launched several weeks ago in London. We invested in this project. It is led by Sergey Balsanyan, who is one of contributors to the book in the financial chapter of the book. So basically, this is a banking card providing access to longevity marketplace, but using quite sophisticated fintech technologies, up to date, modern, relevant for 2020. So it's beyond just fintech and it's beyond mHealth. As Frank and Margaretta mentioned, Longevity 1.0, this is the book about current state of the longevity industry. It is providing framework, providing some structure and better understanding of the industry for any participants and newcomers into this industry. It is also creating a good logical basement for the development and better structuring of some particular compounds for the industry, including financial industry. At the same time, Longevity 2.0, the book will be about where the industry will be in 5 years from now, and how actually in practice trajectory could be accelerated and optimized, and at the same time some issues and some roadblocks could be neutralized in advance. If you will subscribe to the book website, you will also get access to some extensions to the book, which will be between 1.0 and 2.0. There will be some new chapters published in advance prior to publication of second book, and there will also organize some thematic events on the longevity topic. In particular, for example, there will be such topics as practical longevity. We will analyze in depth some myths and reality, for example, such topics as diet and physical exercise, because there's a lot of myths created by food and fitness and wellness industries, which have nothing to do with reality. So we will provide some insights on that matter. I will be in charge in particular, guiding this part of our, let's say, content production about longevity financial industry. And to summarize my presentation, so the book about, in general, about two opposed megatrends, advancing biomedicine and aging population. At the same time, we are providing some logical, analytical framework, how the positive scenario could be structured for some particular countries and markets, and maybe even globally. At the same time, we are also profiling and we are forecasting some negative scenarios, which already can be predicted for some particular regions. And at the same time, maybe providing some recommendations how to neutralize and circumvent these issues. So thank you for your attention to my particular part. And now I would like to give the word to Karen Taylor, our long-term partner on different topics, including, we were making some joint research, some joint publications on the matter of applications of artificial intelligence for drug discovery, which is quite also important. And there are some transitions and some, let's say, logical bridges between advanced biotech industry, the most progressive, artificial intelligence, and longevity industry. Karen?
Thank you, Dmitry and Margaretta. I'm delighted to be here today to talk to you about your book, which I have a copy of, so I've had a chance to see it, and just to ask some questions, to explore some of the issues that arise as a result. So I'd like to start with Margaretta. When did you actually become interested in longevity, and what led you to work in this area? What were the motivations?
So I initially became interested in longevity about 30 years ago. And I was born and raised in San Francisco, and health and the idea of longevity has been a topic here for a really long time. So it really wasn't that unusual that I was, involved in it and drawn to it. But the part of it that I was really interested in for many years was the aging research. So I read a lot of, the studies that were being done, and I kept track of all the advancements over many, many years. And it was really exciting because you could really see that there were advancements and you could always see the progress. And, in the county where I live is the #1 research place in the entire world for aging research. It's called the Buck Institute for Research on Aging, and it's a fantastic place. They have 250 scientists in 19 labs, and they're really serious scientists who are studying longevity. And so, you know, living in a place that has something like that, it really makes you take it seriously. And I've been fortunate enough to know a lot of the scientists who are doing research there, and I'm following their research really closely, and it's really exciting. They're making a lot of progress. And one of the things, they're very progressive in their thinking at the book. For example, they started the first institute that studies female aging and female reproductive aging. And they're studying the relationship between reproductive aging in women and aging. And that's the first place in the world that's done that. So I follow that very closely. And so this entire time I would go to conferences and I would read all the books on aging, but I was completely focused on science and technology. That entire time I was working in software companies, and I was always thinking, there's so many advances in software. This is really going to help us make advances in longevity. But I was only considering the medical science until I met Dmitry. And when I met Dmitry, it completely changed the way I thought about longevity, because he described all about the longevity economy and how, you know, if people can live extra long lives, like they can live till they're 120 or 130, he described to me how they can afford to live that long. And I'd always wondered, but he had a plan. So, you know, he has a very, very in-depth understanding of how we can change things so that we can all be financially secure as we age. And he also understands a lot of the other areas, like the policy and the government initiatives. So he convinced me to leave software and come and work in longevity. So the whole reason I'm working in longevity is because I was so impressed with Dmitry. And it's just so motivating to work with someone who knows so much and is so committed to you know, changing things. You know, we're the first generation in all of human history who can really change things and decrease suffering and help people have really healthy lives, higher quality lives. So it's just really, I feel really fortunate to be able to work in this area.
Margaretta, just in case, of course, the book is and our entire, you know, kind of trajectory during the last 3 years, it's a joint work, including, you know,
it's joint work, but you've inspired me, Dmitry.
Well, before I ask Dmitry a question, could I just ask about the graph you showed when the decline starts?
Mm-hmm.
I hope that doesn't mean it's too late for anyone that's halfway down that decline.
No, but it's like, so I think that's a very interesting graph. And when Alex, who's the founder of In Silico Medicine, first showed that to me, it made a really big impression on me. And, you know, I try to live a healthy life, and I always have, I'm very healthy, but it made me think, gosh, you see how you have to do some intervention pretty early.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is a very important thing for everybody to think about, because when you're 35, you feel so healthy and vibrant, and you think, oh, I'm fine, but actually inside of your body, you're already aging.
Okay, on that note, I'm going to turn to Dmitry, and I'm going to say, the longevity industry, you seem to have a much broader definition of the longevity industry than most investors will have. It includes tech sectors, financial sectors, for example. What does it mean to define the longevity industry? What is the exact meaning of that phrase, the definition of a longevity industry?
Yes, Karen, indeed. This, 3-5 years ago, it was a big change. What is anti-aging industry? What is regenerative medicine industry? What is, you know, biotech? Where is longevity? Where is investment side? Where is technology? You know, where is policy? So if you will speak with scientists in longevity research, they will say longevity, it's about science. If you will speak with financiers, they will say money, this is what, you know, kind of the real power in the world. Everything, like only money will kind of make the final decisions. You know, if you will speak with government people, they will say, we are the decision makers. So like if you will speak with, let's say, insurance companies or pension funds, they will say, we are comprising 99% of the entire capitalization of the industry. So every part, every people who are somehow involved with the industry, they are thinking that they are the real industry. We decided not to think to, let's say, provide some more holistic view on the industry. So we defined science of longevity and aging. We defined biomedicine. We defined age tech, which is very significant part of this industry. And of course, we defined this longevity financial industry. And by the way, even within each of that subsectors, you can also, divide it into sectors and subsectors, and this multi-layer, let's say, logical pyramids. So I'm sorry, I probably didn't share. So this is just in case: science, medicine, age tech, financial industry, and then within financial industry, age tech, wealth tech, longevity, and asset management. And yeah, so it's quite important, for people, for public, and also for, let's say, participants of the industry to understand what does it mean the industry. So this is why defining the industry.
Thank you. You mentioned age tech. Margaretta, age tech, is that a well understood terminology, and does it get enough attention? Could you actually perhaps describe it for me?
Yeah, I'm really interested in age tech, and it's only been around for about 10 years, and most people don't even know what age tech is, but it's really interesting, and it can really be helpful to older people. So first of all, it's not deep science. Age tech are just practical applications that we can use to put into things to make them easier for older people to use. So for example, like tablets, computers, phones, banking interfaces. There's all these things we can do to make it easier for older people to use things. And when I say older, even for 50 and 60-year-olds, like the Apple has the touch tone with their, you don't have to remember a password. You can just use your face to use the Apple Card and stuff. That's age tech. But in the entire longevity industry, age tech is a significant part. It's like I think it's about $2 trillion out of the whole industry. So that's important. And what age tech seeks to do is to make things, the user experience for older people much better. So it takes away complexity. It can do things like in banking applications, it can help protect older people from fraud. It can just make, it's going to be embedded in things. So you won't even know you have age tech. It'll be in things like cars, it'll be in stores, in hospitals, in all your devices. And if they use AI in age tech, you can really personalize a person's experience. So an older person won't have to worry about all these little, the minutia. They can just use the device. So I think it's really exciting, and I'm looking really forward to much more age tech.
Thank you. Dmitry, you showed the slide of the front cover, which is the 3D cube. What's actually the meaning of the 3D cube? Could you just explain it a little bit?
Yeah, in longevity industry, there are two issues which you will not face or find in any other industry, including biotech or biomedicine. So first of all, it's extremely broad, as I explained before. There's a lot of compounds, a lot of very significant parts of the industry. But also, which is even more difficult and challenging, it's the over complexity of the industry. So again, there's some, first of all, science of aging, it's much beyond just biomedicine. So to achieve the state of precision health, it's 10 times more complicated, more complex compared with precision medicine. And to design, for example, relevant investment strategies, so to analyze, this industry on the global scale, you need to apply much more advanced, analytical techniques. So that's why the mega complexity of the industry actually, introduces significant challenges, issues, but also opportunities. And this cube, so in particular, we are applying some advanced data science techniques, including such a specific term, multi-dimensional vector space. So we're using at least 3D dimensions to analyze the industry and some particular domains on the industry. But in reality, even 6 dimensions and even more. So this is this cube actually represents, you know, this let's say, complexity, over complexity, and multi-dimensionality of the industry. We are applying, this is just kind of several, you know, screenshots, snapshots of some techniques which we are applying and some dashboards, including, for example, we are using so-called technology readiness levels. This is, you know, used for technological forecasting and actually to predict when some theoretical deep science research potentially could be transferred to practical applications. And at the same time, it's, you know, quite simple tool to de-risk investments, in the sense that not to invest in something which is yet far away from market. At the same time, our analytical subsidiary, Aging Analytics Agency, in the next several months, will launch a new product. It will be a big data analytical system. Actually, it will be in the form of, with advanced visualization in the form of these dashboards. And it will be focused on investment analytics and financial analytics, and you know, the overall idea to profile all the players in the industry. It is approximately, currently it is around 50,000 entities and laboratories and personalities, investors, so on. But at the same time, to derive, you know, the leaders among them, to apply some specific benchmarking. And indeed, within, we identified these 10 sectors of longevity industry. We're using this to design investment strategy for Longevity Capital, our investment fund. But that analytical dashboard will provide some very advanced insights on this matter. So to go back to your question in particular, the cube, it's like a simple, you know, delivering simple explanation why and why this longevity industry is over complex.
Thank you. Margaretta, you mentioned AI and you've written for it and also in longevity now. Why do you think that AI has got such an important role? And of course, it is what brought us together, our interest in AI in the pharma value chain. So I'd really like to understand what, you know, what its special role is in longevity.
So yeah, it is what brought us together, Karen. That's how we met. So it's great. I've met a lot of people through my interest in using AI in medicine. So, you know, in biomedical research, they're producing massive amounts of data, huge amounts, and it far exceeds anything humans can analyze. So we need AI, and AI can take this data. And by the way, data is the most valuable commodity in the world, and there's a lot of it. So if we use AI, we can analyze this data and we can make forecasts, we can help diagnose patients, but we can also personalize things like, for example, if we want precision health, we can have AI monitoring our health continually and then helping doctors give us very specific treatments individual to us, including the dosing of medicine. So, you know, if we don't use doctors, I mean, if we don't use AI and we only rely on doctors, we won't have as personalized an experience. So AI can really help improve the experience. I don't think a lot of people understand that. I think that a lot of people think that if we use AI, it'll depersonalize our experience in medicine, but it's the opposite. It can help us get much better care, much quicker, cheaper, and continually monitor. Like if you wear wearables and we include AI, we can monitor our health on an ongoing basis, and we'll be able to take care of ourselves and predict disease. And the sooner you predict disease, the better you can do, you know, curing it and making yourself get better.
Maybe I can add this on this matter. Margaretta, maybe you will explain about this AlphaGo moment in pharma.
Oh, okay, so back in September, our portfolio company in Silico Medicine announced that they had used AI to identify a drug target for a disease in just 21 days. And this is the first time that had ever happened. Usually when companies are trying to find a target, it takes years. And you know, there's many phases in drug discovery, but this is the very first phase. And they did it really quickly. And We wrote an article about it and it caused a big stir.
Uh,
It was really exciting. Go ahead.
Okay, I will add here. So
Yes.
AlphaGo moment, it was particular landmark event in the growth of artificial intelligence industry, and it was done by a deep mind of Google. So they created AlphaGo system to beat the world champion in the AlphaGo game, which was considered, kind of impossible for artificial intelligence. But that was the turning point in further growth of artificial intelligence industry. It was in 2017. In silica medicine, by the way, we were the first investors into this company back in 2014. So they made experiment in 2018, and it took them another year to publish it in September 2019 in Nature Journal, providing the actual evidence of these results that artificial intelligence could be used not only for AlphaGo games, but also to design new drugs. Now, that was in 2018. Now we are September 2020, 2 years since then. The artificial intelligence made very significant progress, including longevity research, and we can absolutely, without any doubt, predict that in the next 2-3 years there will be real, very strong breakthrough in applications of artificial intelligence for longevity research.
Thank you. 5 years ago, Dmitry, you announced your intention to give $1 million prize money to the first person to reach 123 years and beat the current record holder, Jean Colment, who lived to be 122 years old. What motivated you to do this?
Yes, indeed. So it was in 2015. And, as I previously at the beginning of this conference mentioned, in 2013, 14, 15, this field was yet, something kind of unpopular. Many people were concerned, and most of them even didn't knew that, there were such people who lived up till this 122 years and a half. And, we decided to establish this prize. Actually, it will be a birthday gift to the first person who will celebrate his or her 123rd birthday. And the point is that you shall understand that it's the difference only 6 months. This person died back in 1997. Apparently she had very strong genetic predisposition for extra long living. But the point is that during these 23 years from 1997 to 2020, there's a lot of progress in biomedicine. And if she would live now, apparently she would live at least 6 months more. I would say maybe 5, maybe 10 years more. So, for sure, this 125, 130 is more realistic. But this particular initiative, it was, the idea to incentivize people to pay attention to this field, and that actual super advanced life extension is possible. So that was, the idea behind this initiative.
Well, it certainly grabbed attention. So, Margaretta, we've talked about clinical trials. We've talked about longevity. What is the current progress with longevity in clinical trials?
So clinical trials for longevity are extremely important, and there's a number of clinical trials that are going on right now. And we wrote an article about this a few months ago, and we've devoted an entire chapter in our book to clinical trials for longevity. And there's some trials that are, trials on humans, but many of the trials are on mice. And I think it's important to be careful, because just because something works in mice doesn't mean it's going to work in people. And so although it is interesting and exciting, some of the results we're getting, it doesn't mean it's going to translate to, to humans. And we follow clinical trials really closely. And in our next book, 2.0, we're going to have much more precise information, because we'll have more time to see what happens in the clinical trials that are happening right now. But we follow those really closely, and we're very interested in that. Dmitry, do you want to mention something else about clinical trials?
Yes, I will, but probably in the next question. But
Okay.
Definitely cover this topic.
Okay, so the next question that I thought I wanted to raise with you is, the book features an entire section on the longevity financial industry. And I understand that that's a term that you've actually coined. How exactly does the financial sector intersect with the longevity sector?
Yes, Karen, thank you for this question. So unfortunately, currently, longevity financial industry is huge. It's like, I think, more than $10 trillion in total. However, it is not at all connected with science of longevity. This is two absolutely different, universes. There's advanced science of longevity, in some cases, advanced biomedicine with some practical application. And there's almost zero connection with, financial industry. Now, the real how to make that bridge actually happen, how to unite those different compounds and how to ensure that further development of the industry will be, harmonized between science, technology, medicine, financial industry, policy, governance, so on and so forth. So this might be kind of a little bit unusual for people who are not aware with science, but for any scientist who is now in aging research, they know that the major topic which is for discussion for any longevity aging research conference, it will be about biomarkers of longevity. So this is the major roadblock and essential, bottleneck for further development of science, technology, and medicine, including financial industry. This is our, absolutely we are confident. So biomarkers of longevity, this is markers capable to identify the current biological age of any individual given person. And actually, this is already possible now. This is not far future. This is already now. This is like, it was even possible 1 year ago. Now, in the next 1 to 2 years, we are expecting that there will be developed good enough so-called panels of biomarkers of aging and longevity capable to analyze whether some particular interventions, some particular drugs, maybe let's say treatments or some, micro dosage of subtherapeutic dosage of drugs, whether they are providing positive, negative, or just placebo effect, and whether some technologies can slow down aging, freeze aging, or even reverse aging. And the point is that the problem with current biotech industry that even despite the fact that it's much less complex compared to longevity research, longevity industry, even there, the approximate failure rate in transition from mice to humans is 92%. We are predicting that in case of longevity, this failure rate will be up to 99%. And we are quite concerned at all if the mice could be used as the test platform for, drug discovery and clinical trials in aging research. There should be applied much more, novel, modern, sophisticated techniques using data science, artificial intelligence, using biomarkers of longevity in humans. That means that some trials could be done in, in micro, so-called high-frequency micro personalized experimentation with very advanced enhanced by artificial intelligence prediction. This special case study was conducted by Aging Analytics Agency 1 year ago. So by the time we profiled all laboratories and companies working on biomarkers of longevity and aging, in the next 2 months, we'll make the second edition. And the point is that how it is connected with financial industry, in particular with investment. So I think that in 2020, if any one investor considering that their investment fund or they're somehow working in longevity in preventive medicine, if they are relying on results derived from mice, this is a very risky investment. We are quite confident that for any financial, in particular investment decisions, assessments, due diligence shall be applied biomarkers of aging and longevity being applied to humans. So in the next 1, 2, maximum 3 years, we are predicting that these biomarkers of aging longevity in humans, they will become very tangible, quantifiable, so-called signals for decision making. So in case that hedge funds, they're applying a lot of data science techniques using signals without, just kind of human intuition. These tangible tools, data science techniques empowered by artificial intelligence, they will become the tangible leverages or enablers to create sophisticated, pragmatic, modern financial instruments, including derivatives and different other financial instruments.
Thank you. I'm going to change it up a little bit now and open up discussion amongst the two of you and hear your different opinions on some specific topics. So I'm going to start, but question for both of you. How long do you consider that you are expecting to live?
Dmitry, you can go first.
Okay, so when I joined field of aging research, average life expectancy in most of the countries was considered around 75, maybe 80 years. To speak that on average people will live 100 years, it was something crazy, you know. When somebody was talking that people will live up to 120 years, it was absolutely out of, kind of standard. It was absolutely crazy. Now, however, Jean men lived up to 122 years. And as I mentioned, the progress over the last 23 years was significant. So my minimum, let's say, plan achieve 120 years. I think this is absolutely realistic now. However, I think that within next 10 years, the progress in biomedicine will increase. So that's why when we'll speak in 2030, maybe planning 120 will be very skeptical. So maybe we'll plan 150, maybe 200 years. By the way, Jack Ma, that from Alibaba, he's already planning, or at least he's saying that people will live up to 200 years on average.
But what about, and you? What do you think, how long do you think
my
you're
minimum
going to
plan
live?
is 120.
Okay. You're not going to collect your own million then? So, Margaretta, same question. When do you, what's your expectation?
Okay, so the question is, how long do we expect to live? And I would like to change the question, like, how long would I like to live? So I love life, and I would love to live as long as possible, past 120 years. That's what I would like. And I'd love to be alive, in 2050 and 2060 and 2070 and see, the next generations of my family. So I want all that, but there's no treatments right now that can get, in my understanding, that can get us past really like 110. And so I think I could live till 100 as things are now, but we do need more progress in order to get us past. And if I would love just to have treatments that slow down aging and even reverse aging. So I really want to live long, and I want to increase my chronological age, but decrease my biological age. So I don't want to be like that woman who was 122 and biologically 122. I really want to. I love the idea of being chronologically, 100 and having all that experience, and I love that part. But I don't really want to be biologically 122.
There is one very specific technological scientific term, so-called escape velocity. So the point is that different forecasters are predicting that 2030 or maybe 2040 will become the year of achieving so-called escape velocity in longevity. That means that if any given individual is living for one more year, survived for one more year or more, that person is actually getting access to additional technologies which were developed during that year. And those technologies giving possibility to live at least additional new year. And with that, this is like escape velocity. Whereas at the even further stage, there will be technology capable to not only to achieve escape velocity, but also to reverse aging. So my point is that I'm quite sure that within 10 years, we will achieve escape velocity. Within 20 years, we will achieve definitely technology to maintain state of precision health for very, very long time. Maybe maybe there will be some exclusions about the people with very specific, genetic conditions. So, but I'm speaking about, on average.
So I think the future looks bright for my children. I can say that.
But also, Karen, for us, we're young enough that we may be able to get this.
Margaretta mentioned such word that there are no technologies capable to extend life now, but there are technologies capable to extend healthy period of life already now. This is absolutely clear. And the point is that we shall focus now on and talk not about extreme life extension, like beyond 120. We shall talk about how to extend health longevity, let's say from 90 to 100, and with that, maximize chances also to live longer. But the point is that to ensure that you will get access to those technologies which will be developed in 2025 and 2030. With that, it will double maximize the chances that you will also get access to that advanced radical life extension technology.
We're actually getting quite close to the hour, and I know that we have that Franco wants to say a few things, but there is one question I really want to ask you. From the discussion we've had, to what extent are these technologies and these discoveries going to only apply to the wealthy? Is it going to increase health inequalities, or is this one of the ways of addressing health inequalities? Don't know, mind which of you goes first, but that's
You can go first.
Okay, so the point is that this device, it was probably invented like 12 years ago, but 10 years ago, the price probably was around $1 billion because it was very unique. Now, smartphones, now all the people do have smartphones. They cost on average less than 1,000. There are even models, for like very cheap models or innovative models. They cost $100. So the point is that progress is exponential, and technologies which will now affordable for extremely wealthy people in 5 years, and especially in 10 years, they will be affordable for all people. At the same time, super wealthy people interested to extend their life, they will invest into development technology. That's why it will be beneficial for humanity on entire scale.
okay.
Yeah, so I hope, it's my hope that many, many people have access to treatments to keep them healthy and to maybe slow down aging, but also just access to the information. Many, many people have no idea there's even a longevity industry, and they don't. When I wrote that article about clinical trials, people were shocked. And in all the comments, people were saying, I had no idea there were any clinical trials in longevity. So I think we do have to have really responsible people writing accurate articles about the progress that's being made, so everyone all around the world can understand that this is a legitimate science is happening. They're making incredible progress. Level-headed, responsible people are involved, and hopefully it can be for everyone. Because there is a perception that it's only for the rich, and I don't think it has to be.
By the way, this type of the projects, like a longevity banking card, this will provide sophisticated solutions for different people to be more equalized in the sense of having not maybe that much money, actual access to most advanced and let's say relevant technologies.
So I think that's probably a good point on which we should finish. And it's been really fun talking to you, and I hope people enjoy your book. There are about 15 questions that've been asked, and I'm sure that you will respond individually to the people who've asked the questions, because there's some really good questions there. And I'm going to hand back to Franco now, because he's got to do the closing.
Before Franco goes, I just want to say, Karen, thank you so much for being here with us. Dmitry and I were so excited that you were going to be with us, and it just makes it really nice to have you here asking us questions.
I learn from you every time I talk to you, so I'm delighted to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Karen.
Okay, well, thank you, Dmitry and Margaretta, for that intensely stimulating discussion, and also Karen for graciously being the moderator for today's event. So some closing remarks. Once again, the book is available officially today on Amazon in 2 formats, as a high quality full color print edition priced at $55, which again is the minimum price set by Amazon to cover the actual printing of a full color, densely infographic 400-page book printed on high quality paper, and also as a Kindle ebook priced at $20. And for those of you who do purchase the print book, I highly encourage you to write us at contact@longevity-book.com, and we'll give you a free copy of the high resolution PDF optimized for desktop and laptop viewing, so that you can have a maximally interactive and immersive experience by really digging into the wealth of hyperlinks that are scattered throughout the book. And of course, all of today's participants will be sent links to purchase the book on Amazon and on the Longevity Book website. I would also highly recommend everybody viewing, again, to actually subscribe at the Longevity Book website. just click the red subscribe button in the top right corner in order to remain informed about future events and to gain access to a variety of updates, articles, multimedia materials, and exclusive preview content currently slated for inclusion in Margaretta and Dmitry's next book, Longevity Industry 2.0, which will come out sometime in 2021. Again, the journey of Longevity Industry 1.0 doesn't stop here and isn't contained in the front and back cover of the book. And indeed, this should be considered less as a formal book and more as the necessary vehicle and launching pad for a much larger series of books and for an interactive, dynamic, and evolving multimedia channel. And subscribing to the Longevity Book website will give you access to a lot of that exclusive follow-on materials. Subscribers will also be sent invites and registration links for a number of other specific upcoming events centered around the topics present in the Longevity book, including a virtual roundtable discussion slated for mid-October, where a number of the book's guest authors and guest contributors will have a discussion together. That will be moderated by Robin Farmanyan, best-selling author of Patient as CEO, How Technology Empowers the Healthcare Consumer. Subscribers will also get invites and links to another specialized webinar slated for early November, which focuses specifically on the longevity financial industry, where Dmitry will give a keynote presentation providing insights on major trends and near-term forecasts for longevity finance, as well as a sneak peek preview of his new forthcoming book, The Longevity Financial Industry, which will chart the present state and future evolution of longevity finance, the rise of longevity banks, and the very soon coming rise of longevity-based derivatives and financial instruments. The event will also feature a preview of a major new project being developed by Aging Analytics Agency, called the Longevity Finance Dashboard, which combines the sophisticated analytics of Aging Analytics Agency with the advanced data visualization capacities of Deep Knowledge Group in order to create a source of market intelligence and SWOT analysis on the major players active in the growing longevity financial industry, as well as a talk by Sergey Balsanyan, CEO of Longevity Card, and also a guest contributor to Longevity Industry 1.0. Lastly, we are also participating in and supporting the upcoming second annual Longevity Policy and Governance Summit, hosted by the UK All-Party Parliamentary Group for Longevity Secretariat, Longevity International, where Dmitry, who is actually the co-founder and head of international cooperation for that APPG Secretariat, will be delivering a presentation. And we encourage you to register for that summit at longevityinternational.org. With all that said, Dmitry and Margaretta, do you have any final comments before we close today's session?
I'd just like to thank everyone for joining us today and for being interested in our book and it being interested in longevity in general.
Thank you everybody for participation. I hope you will enjoy the book, and we'll keep you posted with some new updates and content and some new events, specifically tied and specifically designed for the readers of the book. Thank you very much. Have a good day.
Okay, thank you everyone for attending. We hope to see you soon.